very first episode of the Assist podcast. I am your host, Jordy Blaine, and I'm here to assist you in everything life has to offer. Some call this journey bliss, some call it a dumpster fire, but here we just call it life. Me and the whole Assist team are so excited that you're here tuning into our very first episode. Now, before we dive too much in, they always say before you know where you're going, you gotta know where you've been. For this first episode, our very first guests will be the founders of the Assist app, an app that inspired this whole idea of the Assist podcast. So, without further ado, Mike and Sarah Piet. Now, today for our first episode, we are graced with the presence from Mike and Sarah Piet. You guys, welcome to the Assist podcast.
Welcome. Thanks for having us.
Of course. Well, I'm like, technically, it's kind of your guys' podcast since you guys are founded the idea of first your app and then now this podcast. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be here. I'm like, let's give it up for Mike and Sarah, everybody.
Thank you and our wonderful host, because without you, it wouldn't be as good.
Amen. No, oh my gosh. I love our little team that we have started to develop. So Let's dive right in. Can you guys first kind of tell us a little bit of your background? Like, where are you from? What were you like in high school? How did you get to where we are right now?
Definitely. I'll go first. I was raised in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So Michigan on this side. And my career started as a skateboarder. I used to love skateboarding, but I wasn't that good. So I had really good friends that were like jumping over stairs and going down rails. And I couldn't do that because I was too scared to like break a bone or something. But I wanted to add value some way and I wanted to make videos. So I wanted to get a video camera and record them and make videos. So I asked my dad, can I get this video camera? And it was $400 for a camera. Now they're a bit cheaper these days, some of them. Still, it's a lot of money though, especially I was like in 8th grade at the time. And my dad was like, sure, if you work for it and earn it. And so I cut my neighbor's grass the entire summer to get it. And I finally got the camera. So that was my first lesson in working hard and video content that I loved. And then that same person that I cut grass, she actually got me a job at a hospital she worked at, serving trays and like making the meals and then serving them to patients. Wow. Sarah hates when I tell this part of the story where I used to, if there was leftover food in some of the trays, I would then eat the mashed potatoes and stuff. And now looking back, I'm like, wow, I could have contracted every disease possible. But, it was good. And then from there, the end of high school, I had to decide, what I wanted to go to college for. And I had no idea. My mom saw a article in the newspaper that said radiography, taking x-rays was in demand. And so I was like, sure, I'll do that. So I went for that. Since I worked at a hospital, I liked to work at the hospital. So I went to college for 4 years. Last year, college was an internship where I was doing radiography, taking x-rays, and I absolutely hated it. I liked the learning part and all that, but it was just taking pictures. I didn't even read it. It was kind of boring. So I got into self-development and information. One of the first people I learned from was a guy named Evan Pagan, who had a book called Double Your Dating to get better at dating and confidence. And then he recommended a guy, Tony Robbins. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. Yeah, definitely. Big guru. Taught me to think bigger and stuff. And a lot of that information helped me. And I'm like, oh, well, I want to do that. That seems really cool. So I wrote a book. And at the time, that's all I knew how to do was like how to become a radiographer. So I wrote a book, How to Become a Radiographer. Put that online. Of course, I thought I was going to be a millionaire sitting on the beach drinking, pina coladas. Yep. Of course, it didn't work out like that. I realized, it's a lot of work to write the book, to make the product. And then, I had to sell it, sales copy. Yeah. And then I had to get people to the website, marketing. So it was a lot of work and it was a pretty small niche. Not that many people are looking for that. And so I sold the website for $1,000 and then I was like, okay, what's the next business? Well, the next thing I know how to do is, write a book. And I had a lot of challenges with that as well. So I created a product on how to write a book and marketed that under the pen name Alex Albright, because like pen names were big back in the day. Made a YouTube channel, did all that. It was decent. I was attracting a lot of people that wanted to make stories, and then the nonfiction, I was more like the fiction, how to like structure your information and self-help. So it wasn't an exact match. So I sold that website for $5,000. And then there was this inner guy that I followed who I realized lived on the opposite side of the state of me. So I drove over there 2.5 hours, dropped off my resume. And then 3 months later, he called and I was hired to work with him, which was good. But then I was working on my stuff on the side and I actually outsourced my work to someone else. And then he found out and he got mad. So I got fired from that job. So I didn't know what to do. At this point, Sarah came to the picture too. We met online, dating, plentyoffish.com. Shout out to them. Thank you.
Yes, I love it. Sponsor.
Yes. And that I didn't really know what to do, but I knew communications and speaking would be, a big part of whatever career direction I took. So I joined a Toastmaster group, which is basically just public speaking, just talking about yourself. So your first speech you give to the group, like, who are you? So I'm Mike Piet. I like, marketing, online marketing. Here's what I've done, etc. And afterwards, a business owner came up to me and was like, hey, can you help me with my business and market my business? So I was like, sure. So I helped her, and she went from 1 lead a month online to 60 leads a month online. And she sells temporary walls for construction. So it was like thousands to 30,000 to 40,000 per sale. So it worked really well for her. And I'm like, wow, this is really nice. It added tons of value. I didn't really make it work that well for my own businesses, but applying the same skills and knowledge and experience to, another company, basically, they could get results. So I was like, oh, I'll keep doing that. So we replicated that. We got more clients. Then Sarah quit her job and started with the company, called it Triple Your Traffic. And we hired people. That's where we worked with a guy named Mihai, who I actually when I first did the first online thing, he helped me with the technical stuff. So that was my first, lesson in collaboration. And then, we were like just learning a lot in between the marketing. We were, getting hired by clients, hiring others to do the work, etc. But it was a lot of work. We tried to make systems and all that stuff, which helped, but it was still just, super chaotic. So we wanted something more instead of like one-to-one, one to like many. So we started exploring making software about SEO, like getting links and optimizing, the search engines. That's what SEO is, search engine optimization. First, we tried it and we failed because, we had to pay someone a lot of money and trying to communicate with them. It just didn't work. Eventually, I just Googled, how to make software without knowing code. And we found this tool called bubble.io. And it's all just like visual programming. When this happens, do this, and you can design anything, anyway. It was really good. So we first made a software about SEO and then social media. We vlogged for 145 days straight, which, it was fun. We didn't get that many results, and we just got so burnt out from it. We had to stop. But then we had an SEO software, and basically it was a program, and then we were selling our services within the software. So it's still us having to do it and being capped. So then we're like, well, let's let other people come in and sell their SEO stuff, like keyword research and links, etc. But then we're like, this is still just so limited. Only people that know about SEO and this specific thing. It's like, let's expand that. And we had an assistant at the time in-house that we were working with, and we noticed she was always on her phone too. And then, she left, but then we were like, wow, we like the assistants. We know collaboration. Everything we've done is, working with, other people, the strengths, helping our weaknesses, etc. So we started building Assist, mobile first, because we know, tons of people are on the phone. We know the gig economy, is just getting more and more important and big, and we've realized, how much we use it as well. And then we just hit a block in our focus. It was like pulling teeth just trying to finish it because it's so complex. So we hired Angelo, and he's been doing a really good job. And we pretty much have it complete. We're just making the finishing touches on it, making sure it's like unique, different, getting feedback. So a lot of lessons along the way. One thing seems to lead to another. And now the podcast, learning this to, get it out to the world.
Right. The big vision of Assist is to just everybody helping everybody. You can get paid to help, or you can, pay to get assisted. But it's it kind of developed when we would need to hire someone fast, and it was you hire someone, but then your needs would change. So it was okay, you felt bad firing them. So it's kind of set up maybe you can hire someone for a couple of weeks. Maybe it can be long term too, but it's kind of, more it's not such a, I'm your employer. It's a win-win on both sides, more of a, casual win-win.
Flexible.
Definitely.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, and just from me working, using the app just for the last couple of weeks, I find it so helpful. If someone was looking in that field, to have a platform like that is everything,
Yeah. Yep.
We want to combine it with social, because we know, all these social platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, they're so huge. We want to integrate that too, because some platforms like Upwork, even though it's good, we still want to have our own, unique take on it. And, see if we can do something integrated with social as well, being able to post stuff so people know more about you and things like that.
Right. Helpful stuff. Not just, when you're browsing through social media and it's pointless. It's more like you're getting benefits, you're learning stuff, you're getting help, vice versa. There's a point to it, not just aimlessly scrolling.
Well, going back just a little bit now, Sarah, can you tell us where you are from and then take us to how you met Mike and getting you to your position with the Assist team right now?
So I grew up in Michigan, not too far from where we're at now, in Rochester, kind of like a rich little town. I grew up kind of just got whatever I wanted.
I love the honesty.
Yeah. But then when I was 16, my dad was an entrepreneur. He had his own company. And when I was 16, he kind of lost the company. We lost everything, our house, and it was a really crazy time, but that really built a lot of the character I have now, because I would have been a different person if that stuff didn't happen. So I always tell them, you wouldn't have liked the old me. So I'm glad I went through all that, because it really, at age 18, I had to just take over my car payment, pay for school, just everything was thrown. So
reality.
It taught me a lot of lessons. So I'm glad it happened. So I ended up going to school for occupational safety and health, like OSHA stuff. Didn't realize I hated it until I was an intern. And it was a hard job. Nobody wants to listen to you in the shop. You're trying to help them with safety stuff. I don't know. It was just not for me. So basically after school, I got a job as an admin for this small company in Rochester called Helro. They made diamond grinding wheels, and they were so nice. I worked for 3 years for them. They taught me so much about how to treat people, and they treated me like family. I would literally, if I was having a bad day, I could cry in front of them, and they were so nice to me, and so it really, really opened up my eyes. So I worked for them, and then after that, I got a purchasing job. I worked there for about a year. Literally, I hated it, so I quit. So this was in 2016, I quit the purchasing job. Me and Mike got married in August of 2015. But backing up a step, Mike said we met online. I just want to tell this story really quick about.
Please do.
I was so anti-dating. So we went so I was I'm just going to come to your house and I'm just going to walk in. Okay. I don't want to, it's not so I drove, I couldn't find his house. He said he lived, there's a dirt road, but it was really just a dirt driveway. But finally I couldn't find it. I called him screaming because I ended up turning down these woods, but it was off-roading and I was in the woods.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It was for four-wheelers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was so scared. And Mike immediately calmed me down on the phone. That's the first time I even heard his voice. We didn't even talk on the phone. And then he met me at a street corner, and that's where we met. And then we walked to the apartment. And so we hung out the first time, and I was I didn't like him for some reason. I was lose my number, don't call me. And
bye,
then
this never happened.
We finally reconnected. And from then it's just been there's so many things we get about each other, and working together has been eye-opening, just learning about each other, our styles, so it's been cool. It has its challenges too, but I feel entrepreneurship in general, just, there's ups and downs and lessons. So, but going back to this. So basically after I quit my job then, cause I hated it, Mike's just work for our SEO company. And so I was fine, whatever, I'll quit and see what happens.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be back working another job in 3 months. It's been about 5.5 years since I quit, and here we are. Now we're going into
amazing.
Assist, and we want to change the world with this app.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well then, can you tell us a little bit about your vision for the app? It's the Assist app. That's how they came up with the name for this podcast. Tell us your hopes and dreams for the app itself.
So my big vision is just to see everybody, either side, whether you're getting the assistance or you're helping, is that it's a win-win. So people that are helping, they're doing what they love. For instance, you hosting this podcast, you get to utilize, your skills as you're a news broadcaster and doing stuff you like. So it doesn't feel like work while you get paid. And then the other, we're getting huge help because it's been so helpful to have you helping us. So just kind of
you guys,
the whole world helping each other, making the world better, one assist at a time. That's my big vision.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you.
I just love building things and seeing how, I can improve on, what's already been done. And I feel like there is a lot of innovation with these apps that keep coming out. You think, okay, it can't, Facebook did it, and then it's Instagram. How do they even do it? They're just pictures,
Right.
So it really intrigues me. Or, Snapchat, just changing one thing where, you send it and then it deletes, and that's a big thing. Or TikTok, scrolling just one at a time. So I'm really fascinated by these apps. along with, again, just, collaboration, because like anything I've done, like, starting from any age has always been, with someone, everything, even from like just learning, everything that I've learned. I feel like I'm just a combination of all these other people that I collaborated with, either in person, virtually, or on projects. So yeah, I definitely see it. You just have like just people, you can just this social media, podcast, website, technical, and just know it and use everyone's strengths and kind of delegate your weaknesses,
It takes a village. It truly does.
Yeah, exactly. It takes more than you think. Yeah.
I was going to say, we used to have this guy, he mentioned him, Mihai worked for us, and Mihai would always make all these like back end softwares, like about SEO stuff, and we would never know how to use them. But Mihai was like, he was the main assist. He could do everything. He helped us with so much.
Sure.
We lost him. When was it? Like a couple of years ago. Crane fell on his car and he died from it. I just know that he'd be so like amazed by Assist, and he would love it. So he's been a big part of the journey.
I'm sure. Wow, that's really special. And I'm so sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
Wow. Well, then we'll just keep chugging forward for him.
Yeah, you never know when your last day will be. So
truly, that's very special. Wow.
Yeah.
Literally, he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Literally, he was in traffic.
It just happens. Yeah. Boom.
And there was 3 other people in the car, and they all walked out. And he didn't. He was in the hospital for 2 months, and then just brain damage, and passed away. And then 6 months later, another person on our team died of leukemia.
She was huge too. Jazz. She took Mihai's role, and she was awesome.
Yeah.
But it was a crazy year.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry, you guys. That is
Thank you.
A lot.
This brief interruption is brought to you by the Assist app. If it's not already downloaded on your phone, it definitely should be. If you're someone looking for work or someone looking to hire, head to the App Store and type in the Assist app for all of your assisting needs. Now, let's get back to the show.
But just the even more motivation to, keep the project going.
Yep.
That's a lot of adversity for you guys. Can you talk about just the adversity that does come up when you are an entrepreneur on this path?
Definitely. I mean, I'm diagnosed with ADHD like in 11th grade. So I always struggle with focus. It's always like pulling teeth to get me to actually do it. I can have a million ideas, all this stuff. And I see it all, like all this stuff, and I just get overwhelmed and I don't take action, So that's where collaboration with other people that are really good executors comes into play. All the things that happen, just staying healthy. Like I'm at the computer so much, I was having like bad posture and back pain and neck pain.
As I sit up, I'm like,
yeah, exactly. And so staying healthy has been a huge theme that we always have to keep working on. And dealing with all the stuff, like with clients, it was so chaotic because, I mean, you live and die by the results with like, ranking in Google. Because if you're not,
constantly.
And it's like Google's this algorithm where, they don't tell you exactly what it is, because then people would, try to manipulate it and stuff. So it's this big thing. And it's still good because, I mean, it pays our bills and it's still good, but it wasn't as fulfilling as we wanted. And I think that's with almost anything. We just want to keep, evolving and keep, moving up. And now if I can pass that on to others of having a tool, and all these tools are great, but having a tool where, you can, do this type of stuff, gig economy. And like Sarah said, do what you love, get paid for it, get experience, try different things, and, and see,
Yeah.
Right. And as hard as it's been, I mean, there's been so many challenges. Just you have to do things you've never done. You're uncomfortable. I didn't know how to sell anything, and I had to learn.
Yes.
Also constantly putting out fires, just the focus. I mean, there's so many little things, but you learn so much. So that's why I do love it. But it's a balance of, you have to stay appreciative and not get too overwhelmed. So it's a constant balance of just, dealing, multitasking and staying focused. But it's been a crazy ride.
And Sarah,
more
you
to come.
said that, more exactly. It's never ending. Sarah, you said your dad was an entrepreneur, right?
Yep, he was. He was a engineer. He had an engineering consulting company. I always say I don't know how he had 4 kids with the company. I mean, we don't have kids yet, but it's like now all the stuff I know that he had to deal with, I give him so much credit. How
did he do it? Yeah,
he of cancer, but he'd be loving that I'm following in his footsteps.
Proud, I'm sure. What can you take away from watching him, and now you as a grown woman, as an entrepreneur yourself? What did you learn from him in that process?
Yeah, just mindset is everything. He was in his deathbed, like trying to still get jobs, engineering jobs. He had just a mindset.
Really?
Like, he's gonna do it. Yep. So that's the biggest
that's
thing.
awesome. How do you think that helps carry Assist forward when, when you lose 2 employees in the matter of, what did you say, a very short amount of time, like that takes grit.
I mean, it does. It takes a lot. And it's also too just the gratitude. Like, yeah, we lost them, and like thinking of how they would want us to move forward has helped a lot. Like Mihai, I said, would love this. And even Jazz, she was thrilled to, work with us. And like, she would just love to see, us to keep going forward, making an impact. Same with my dad, just living for, what they would be doing. So that's what helps us stay, like get past it. I mean, it still hurts a lot, but, that's with everything.
Yeah. Wow. I'm like in shock from those 2 stories. That is so crazy and sad, you guys.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I'm like, let's try and move on to something positive. Can you guys tell us about working together as a married couple? I have a boyfriend and we also both make content, and it can get a little tricky, but how do you guys live and work and do it all together?
That's a really good question. Yeah, I would say we're different enough and same enough where it works. Like, we're different where I'm more, like I was mentioning, big picture and seeing the different things. And Sarah's definitely more like on the human relation sides with sales, with clients, with employees. And she really taught me like how to be more compassionate, how to know when someone's good, not good. So a lot of people skills that I definitely didn't have. And I feel like entrepreneurship can be really lonely, and you have all these like ideas and doing these things and you don't know if you're crazy or not. So I think it's really helpful to have someone like Sarah always there that I can just talk about it. And that's kind of how I move things forward sometimes, is just talking about it. And then Sarah's very action oriented too. When she's like, let's do it, where I like to talk about it.
You need that.
Blah, blah, blah. She's like, let's do it. If I'd be talking about a podcast, she's like, all right, let's do it. What do we need to do?
Yeah, I think life would be so boring if I always say, how was it before we worked together? I mean, it's because it's not just work. It's like you learn, it's like a whole life's like personal development. You learn all these things. It's taught me a lot about Mike and just in general, just, how to work with him better. Even I said, if everything fails, at least it, gets us ready for kids. We know each other's styles and stuff.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like even like yesterday, the thing for the laundry like fell out. And so our whole laundry room got like flooded. So we had, instead of just both getting upset, I'm like, all right, I'll take out the stuff to dry. And Sarah was mopping it with towels and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, okay, go to the store and get a new rug. It's definitely transferable to everything in life, meal prepping, doing this thing, that thing. Yeah. We can really, work together well. And yeah, it took a long time because I'm more like direct feedback. And I would say it's my worst and best habit where I want everything to be better, everything to improve so I can kill the joy. And at first, Sarah, I would say was more like soft in the critics, as I was like, and in my view, of course, I'm just trying to help, like do this better, this email needs to be tweaked this way.
That's his work voice.
Yeah, exactly. And she's like, just appreciate me, love me. I'm like, I do, of course, but also I want this better, So I've definitely learned to be, softer in my approach and still working on it, but also still respecting each other's styles, because I learned from David Data, who teaches relationships, like the polarity, where if you guys both become the same, then it's like the traction's not there. So if I become more soft and Sarah becomes more harder, then we're just bland. So it's like we still have to be these differences, but then I was saying enough similarity where we're both growth-minded. We both love to do new things and have big goals, so that keeps us together. But then the differences still keeps us like attracted and still like working together and still collaborating well.
Mm-hmm. We both have ADD too. His is more of like the hyper type. Mine's more of like spaced out. I fidget, but I think that helps us understand each other too.
So on these podcasts, I definitely, even for myself, want to learn more about focus, energy, just all these things that I think a lot of people, struggle with, whether you want to put a label on it, but there is so much going on, how do you, cut off the world, but still be engaged, and do these things,
Right. And a huge challenge too is all like the uncertainty. I feel like like it's scary when you just, you know, clients anytime they can drop. So it's not really, that's never been stable. I mean, yes, we've been able to make it work, but like, it's like we want to go into the assist and, you know, we're kind of like changing the direction. So it's learning to let go too of some clients and, you know, just going trust with all the unknowns and hoping it works, but there's no guarantees in life regardless.
Right.
I always try to set it up like that. I learned something no matter what, even if this podcast doesn't work out specifically. At least I learned more about myself and others, and et cetera. Even if the app doesn't, you know, work, at least I'm going to learn something more about app development and, you know, how all the, I appreciate Upwork more now. And now I know more about Upwork after building, you know, an own similar platform.
Right.
And like sales, you know, all these skills, they're definitely transferable and I can learn and eventually find something. We're still looking for our big breakthrough, something that's going to be big that we can be passionate about and grow long term. Fingers crossed.
Have to keep
it is assist. We're speaking it into the universe. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think, Mike, what you said is awesome, because I think if you do keep that positive mindset, that this could fail, and if it does, then at least we learn something from it. But keeping the positive mindset is only going to propel you forward on the journey. Negativity is not going to help anyone. So
I agree.
I think keep that mindset.
100%. Yeah. And Sarah is really good at that, positive. She believes so much that I believe, you know?
Yep.
You got to believe or else, you know, it won't happen.
That's great teamwork. Especially people don't always see married couples cheering each other on like you guys are doing right now. You know, I love seeing this for you guys and for this project. That's awesome. For people tuning in, obviously this is the first episode. Where do you guys want to see the Assist podcast go for people?
Just basically helpful. Like they learn something, they can relate, just they feel maybe inspired to start their own podcast or something they've been feeling uncomfortable about. So just helping in any way possible, assisting in any way possible.
Yeah, I agree. Gary Vee says now, Gary Vaynerchuk, you know, teaches social media stuff. He says every company now is also a social media company. You know, they have to be doing these things, whether they're delegating or doing it in-house or whatever. But I also think it's just having a voice, you know, it's something, everyone has something to share. I think they should be teaching this stuff in school, how to podcast and use social media for good, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree. For people listening to you guys and your story so far that we've been talking about, what advice do you have to entrepreneurs who want to get started or are scared, but you guys have been actively pursuing your dreams now for quite a while? What advice do you have for them?
Simplest is, just do it. I still find this and I still struggle with this, always overthinking. And I feel like I worked the whole day, but I did like hour of work, you know? I mean, there's time and a place for thinking and, you know, get new insights and stuff, but it's from the doing that it all gets done. So anyone with an idea out there, just start. And, you know, with today's stuff, literally with Instagram, with all this stuff, you can just start. And free website builders, you know, takes like no resources compared to back in the day, like brick and mortar and funding and all that. Yeah, you don't need any of that. You can just start, literally. You can just, even free recording, like the information products. You can just, you know, structure out what you want to say and just record it. Literally, you have a product that you can sell, you know, or coaching, you know, anything of these services. You know, you can learn, even podcasts. Anyone could become a podcast manager. They could go on YouTube and learn it all in these courses and then do it, you know, so.
Yeah.
And my thing too was like, it was so scary to like quit my job initially, but I was like, what's the worst that can happen? You know, like, okay, I can't make it work and I just get a different job. Just don't make it so big in your head, you know, like Mike said, just start it and just see what happens, you know. You'd rather do something and fail than have regrets like, oh, I wish I would have tried that, you know. So just starting.
100%.
So true.
Now, what if they're like, well, what if I just fail? Do you guys have a time where you considered yourself failing, or has it been smooth sailing?
Oh, it's been.
I feel like it's definitely both.
Yeah,
you know, like you have micro successes and then micro failures. You know, all these businesses, I always thought they were going to be like big, and you know, and they weren't. So it failed in that perspective, but also other perspective. You know, I learned, you know, like from the first stuff, learning how to create content, learning how to make a website, learning these things, and then I can just use them, you know, and do better.
I still feel like I mean, Friday, I think I had like a mini meltdown just because I was like, it's transition time. I feel like almost like we're failing at the SEO company, but really it's not really failing. It's more of like we're changing direction. But all the time, you can be your own worst critic. You can look at it as like, you're transitioning or you failed. I mean, even if it's a failure, it's like, well, what'd you learn? I mean, so many people start companies and not the first company works, it takes a little bit.
Yeah.
So just being okay with it. You have to be okay with failure.
Yeah. And being patient. I mean, we started building the app last November, and haven't made a single penny yet, so being super patient and
how do you stay patient?
Good.
How do you be patient?
Yeah.
That is a really good question. I think definitely like meditation type of stuff, breathing like really helps, because as the day goes by, like I get more sped up on all this stuff. And then, of course, looking at other people's, I used to compare myself a lot, being like, well, this guy's not as smart as me or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And why does he have 1 million followers? Or I could easily do that, But then it comes back to like, well, this guy's taking action, doing it. I'm sitting here judging him, So instead of comparing and watching, take action.
Yeah. And also too, like we had a client before, they sold pipes and stuff on Google, and we made them like, I think it was $500,000 in SEO within like a 7 or 8 month time frame. And I'm like, wow, I wish that could be us. We made them that money. They literally had 16,000. I tried to start one of the same type of sites and it didn't work out. And I'm like, well, guess what? That's not my passion. They were, you have to follow what you like to do. Like, just because I did that for a client doesn't necessarily, like, it just proved it, Well, that really, my head wasn't in it. I was just trying to do it. Don't do it for the money. Do it because it feels right, passion,
Watching something the other day, and they're like, don't just start a business because you're passionate about it or because you like it. Like, do keyword research and find the market and the needs. And I was just thinking it's such both, because if you just do something you're passionate on that, the market doesn't really enjoy or is too small or whatever, then, it's not going to go anywhere. But opposite's true too. If you just do something trying to make money or because it's the hot thing, but you're not that passionate about it, there's a lot of psychology, like the focus and the effort. And you said the grit that takes, behind the scenes so you got to have both, I'd say, the market wants it, but also you're passionate about it. So both.
Entrepreneurs almost live and breathe their brand and company. How do you guys, especially being a married couple, take a step back and live your lives outside of your business?
You don't.
Basically on weekends is like, we have like Saturday, basically Friday night and Saturday are a time where we don't talk about like business at all. Yeah. And we'll go, ride our scooters or play a sport or go on a date or we paddle board.
I mean, randomly, like I'd say in a couple hours, we might like just go on a walk.
That's true.
Talk. Like, it's just, we have so much time together. We're fortunate enough. And because we're both on the same page about it, I think it would be a lot harder if like it was just Mike into it and I didn't understand it. And I would like be mad he's not
weren't a part of it.
Like, it works out with
both. But I mean, I had like 8 other relationships before Sarah, and they just all didn't work out. And none of them were like anything like cared anything about what I was doing online and stuff. And,
that's awesome.
And Sarah's like super involved as well. So
I honestly
works
love
out really
for
well.
The lesson. I mean, like the self-development, like I think that's the biggest,
all
the lessons you learn. It just makes you better. But I mean, you can do it without being in entrepreneurship too. You can just be in a personal development. You don't have to own your business or, but
totally.
that's why I like it.
But it's the concept of just like growing and, doing new things. I mean, that's what, and adding value. That's what business is all about. Whether, you're doing it on your own, so to speak, or within a company or, whatever, you're still you're learning so much about yourself, the market, etc.
We did go on vacation too in Florida, like in February, and like I was like, wow, it felt like we were like just married again because we were both from work. So I think getting away too helps. Getting away every now and again,
And isn't that like half the reason people want to be entrepreneurs, because you can make your own schedule. So like you can take that vacay,
Right.
Yep. And we tried doing that thing where like after 6 o'clock, we don't talk about work and stuff. And just that didn't work since we're so opposition.
Do you guys go to bed talking about your ideas and whatnot? Like, are you laying down and you're like, okay, we got to do this or this? Or do you try not to bring that into the bedroom?
It's basically, the rule, don't bring it into the bedroom, that didn't work at all,
But that's how I know this feels like, because it wasn't, I mean, SEO, I don't feel like was as much like as the app is. Like, we can't help it. It's our baby. Like, it's like
your baby. Exactly.
SEO is more, we cannot talk about it like after 6. It's
Yeah.
Yeah. And we were like that in the beginning, and then eventually, wanted to evolve to something else. So that could be my strength or weakness where I'm super passionate about it. And then eventually it burns out. So finding new ways and picking like a channel or a vehicle that like can expand. This is so expansive that, the app development, at first I was super focused on that. And then it was like super hard to work on it. So then like I kind of delegated. And so same with marketing or whatever. So I do have a lot of, I don't want to say it like options, but it could be a strength or weakness that I do like it's like too hard to stop of something that I want to do. And it's really hard to then do something that I don't want to do. So it's good and bad, but
it's a blessing and a curse, isn't it?
Yeah. And you never know when your last day is going to be. So you might as well do it up all you can.
Give it your all. Yeah, you're so right, Mike. Can you guys give us a vision for what you have as entrepreneurs for your vision for the next 5 years? And then in terms of Assist, your app launching soon.
Yeah, definitely learning these tools of software development I was trying to find a software to manage podcasts and I didn't find anything. I'm like, oh, that would be a cool thing, or like a guest scheduling system. I didn't find anything. So building things like that, just finding these needs and looking the marketplace and not seeing it, I just want to keep building, and based on my past, I just keep building and trying different things. So that's where I keep seeing myself just keep building, eventually, move out to these bigger problems, just like Jeff Bezos now trying to figure out how to like work in space and stuff. He started with Amazon books and then went to everything and how he's in space, so
like umbrella of a company, of a brand that he has.
Yes. Just keep exploring new things and, how do you keep working with others? And again, with this Assist theme of just like connecting the world more, I think about like the internet, connecting everyone. No one used to know what anyone was up to, or any of this information was like locked away, and you could only know something if you knew someone. But now it's like we're in such a connected world, and it's only been like 20 years or something that the internet's been around. So I think it's just going to be crazy how connected we're going to get. With, COVID, we're all learning, we're all connected, and this climate change stuff's going to be, a big thing, how to protect our world and move to new worlds. So, keep evolving.
Just growing Assist would be mine. And then like growing Assist, and like Mike said, moving on to bigger things. And one of them, world hunger, like solving that or helping contribute to being able to donate a certain amount to, and then, work
That's
on
huge. That's
bigger
awesome.
things.
70% of the world now has connected to internet or something.
That's awesome.
Probably even could be more, because now you can go to a place like McDonald's or something. They give you free internet, and you just buy a cheap phone and you basically have connected to the internet. It's going to be crazy, what happens, and still like staying focused and not like getting overwhelmed by it,
Now, can you guys give us one more time, just an elevator pitch of the Assist app and where people can go download it?
Definitely. AssistTheApp.com for the web version, or you can download it on the Apple Play Store or the Google Developer Store. Just to search Assist the App, and that will pull up. And basically, it's anyone that wants to get things done and pay for help, and or also be on the other side of help people and get paid for it, with a social aspect in terms of being able to post updates about, keep update with people you're worked with, and keep just building your skills and doing what you love and trying things and keep connecting and assisting the world, one day at a time.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Sarah?
You got it. That was it.
I think you also nailed it on the head. Like, that's the business model is perfection, and then you have two kind people like you guys running it, and you have that positivity, and I don't know, I'm rooting for you guys. So
Thank
it's
you.
exciting to.
I think everyone has something that they can, offer and assist others, and the other side, everyone has something that they need help with, that's not their strength. So if in a, utopia world, everyone's, using their strengths and getting help with their weaknesses. Cause it's crazy. Like the things like sometimes like it's really messy around my house, but I'm building the app and starting this thing. It's just different, and you can't do it all,
Yep. Last but not least, you guys, can each of you give me in 3 words, 3 traits that entrepreneurs should have?
Yes. Determination, perseverance, and positive mindset.
Love that, Sarah.
Value added mindset action oriented and connecting all the pieces. Because I've made mistakes in the past where it's like you just have the product, but then you need the marketing, or you just have the marketing, but you have a really bad product. It's probably one of the hardest things probably as an entrepreneur is to focus on it all and take action on it all. And, yes, you can delegate to others, but that costs money. So being resourceful, adding a fourth one, but yeah, action oriented along with the persistence and get it done and add value to the world.
Amen.
Yes.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for coming on your own podcast.
Anytime.
Our first guest. You guys are super inspiring, and I know all of us listening can take something away from this episode. So thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Same. And yeah, looking forward to all the other guests on these topics just to go further and reinforce it.
Oh, yeah.
Just keep improving and assisting the world.
Into it.
Let's make the world better, one assist at a time.
Preach.
That is going to do it for the very first episode of the Assist podcast. I really, really hope you've enjoyed listening to Mike and Sarah and their journey to getting to where they are now with their app launching so soon. Such kind people, such hardworking people. They are definitely on that entrepreneurial journey, and we are wishing nothing but the best for them. So